welcome to Soft Spoken Story Time. I'm Cozy Kitten ASMR, and this is SCP-059, Radioactive Mineral. Item number SCP-059, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. A single specimen of SCP-059 is kept at Site 11B inside a graded Z laminate shielding box composed of depleted uranium, tantalum, tin, steel, copper, and aluminum. Surrounding SCP-059's containment box is a 7 by 7 by 7 meter area sealed as a Level 4 biohazard area and surrounded by 3 centimeters of lead shielding. This area is to be sprayed daily with a solution of methyl isothiocyanate to prevent overgrowth of SCP-059-1. Personnel entering an SCP-059 affected area are cautioned to wear appropriate biohazard protection, as well as Type K 59-B radiation shielding. They are to remain in the area for no more than 15 minutes, as the radiation shielding is only partially effective. SCP-059-1 infestations found in the wild should be contained by removing the SCP-059 specimen responsible, and incineration of all observed SCP-059-1. Large underground infestations are best neutralized by fuel air, thermobaric explosives. Additional specimens of SCP-059 are not needed for experimentation and should be transported to Site 11B for incineration by plasma arc at 10,000 Kelvin. Description: 059 is a radioactive mineral of unknown origin, superficially resembling scheelite. A component of SCP-059 is believed to originate in an alternate universe, and to be responsible for its anomalous properties. In addition to alpha, beta, and gamma radiation, SCP-059 specimens produce a previously unknown type of radiation, apparently unique to the object, tentatively designated delta radiation. Delta radiation is accompanied by Cherenkov radiation, visible as a blue glow. Delta radiation is only partially contained by standard radiation shielding. The best results have been obtained using graded Z laminate shielding with an additional super dense metal layer. This reduces the effective range of delta radiation from approximately 20 meters to approximately 6 meters. When an area is exposed to delta radiation for more than 15 minutes, an unknown species of fungus designated SCP-059-1 begins to grow on any exposed surface. This fungus does not require any standard nutrition, but will die within 24 hours of removal from a delta radiation source. SCP-059-1 is itself radioactive, but does not emit delta radiation. However, if a critical mass, approximately blank kilograms per meter cubed, of SCP-059-1 is allowed to grow, delta radiation from an unknown source other than SCP-059 will appear in the area, further supporting SCP-059-1 growth. Interested readers may consult Dr. Redacted for his theories of space-time stress and merger of alternate realities. Within 18 hours, the infected mass will become transparent and disappear, presumably into the universe that is the source of the delta radiation. This process then continues with SCP-059-1 infecting new material. SCP-059-1 will infest both living beings and inanimate objects. Humans and animals infected with SCP-059-1 become immune to the effects of ionizing radiation, but progressively merge with SCP-059-1 and eventually have all tissues replaced by fungal growth. While generally non-violent, they will attempt to expose unaffected individuals to SCP-059. SCP-059-1 infections do not appear to be directly contagious, but only spread by contact with delta radiation. However, long-term exposure to SCP-059-1 has not been adequately tested to rule out considering it a biohazard, as well as a known radiation hazard. Infected individuals still capable of communication describe seeing a world entirely covered with SCP-059-1, where much of the surface is composed of SCP-059. It is unclear whether this is a hallucination or a view into the source of SCP-059. Infectees are generally pleased with their condition and often refer to being in the blue light of heaven. SCP-059-1 is affected by most fungicides, but new growth will continue as long as SCP-059 is present. Early stage SCP-059-1 infection in humans may be treated with griseofulvin. However, the treatment is 90% likely to lead to death by radiation poisoning. Treated individuals lose their immunity to radiation and will already have absorbed a now lethal dose prior to treatment. Late-stage treatment should not be attempted, as too much tissue will already be converted to SCP-059-1. Data expunged. The remains of failed treatments should be kept out of range of SCP-059, otherwise, data expunged. SCP-059 specimens have been discovered in 8 different underground locations across a range of 5,000 kilometers. No pattern has emerged for their appearance. Specimens range from 1 to 10 kilograms in size and are not part of the normal rock formations in the area where they have been found. Addendum. Dr. Redacted has recorded and analyzed the patterns of radiation emitted by the contained SCP-059-1 colony and believes SCP-059-1 may be sapient and attempting to communicate via controlled emissions of radiation. Initial attempts to analyze this language reveal data expunged. SCP-060 Infernal Occult Skeleton. Item number SCP-060. Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. The grove, which contains SCP-060, is currently contained in a series of specially constructed greenhouses at Satellite Site 66-060. Specimens are to be pruned regularly to keep at a manageable size. Personnel are banned from smoking while within 5 kilometers of Satellite Site 66-060. Personnel are to refrain from bringing lighters, matches, tasers, or any other tool readily capable of starting a fire into Satellite Site 66-060. SCP-060 specimens are to be watered twice daily and checked weekly for dead plant matter and saplings. Dead matter and saplings are to be pruned, shredded, and composed properly in the dedicated facility on site. Afterwards returned to SCP-060's containment chamber. Fragments of SCP-060 may not be moved off-site for any reason without explicit written permission from 2 or more Level 4 personnel. In the event of a breach by SCP-060-Alpha, personnel are to enter lockdown mode and activate on-site fire suppression systems. Redundant on-site fire suppression systems have been installed throughout the site, including water and chemical retardants, to be utilized in tandem in the event of a containment breach. Portable extinguishers are to be kept available at all times. Containment Chamber 060 Alpha-001 is a dedicated circular containment chamber designed to contain SCP-060 Alpha during testing. This chamber is constructed of concrete with a 0.2 meter thick asbestos coating, with a series of chimneys to allow for ventilation of heat during containment. The walls are fitted with 24 CO2 projectors, evenly spaced at 45-degree angles along the walls, and will activate in the presence of temperatures exceeding 200 degrees Celsius. 1 kilogram of SCP-060 material is to be kept within Containment Chamber 060 Alpha-001 to be burned in the event of a breach. Description: SCP-060 is a grove of 17 white oak trees, Quercus alba. The grove is spread across approximately 8 acres in rural northeastern Minnesota. A house on the property was demolished during the construction of Satellite Site 66-060 after being combed by Foundation personnel for information regarding SCP-060. See Addendum. When burned, SCP-060 will produce an entity henceforth designated SCP-060 Alpha. SCP-060 Alpha appears to be an animate adult human skeleton, standing approximately 2.3 meters tall and surrounded by bright white flames. SCP-060 Alpha initially burns at a temperature of approximately 1,500 degrees Celsius, around 2,730 degrees Fahrenheit, and will attempt to cause as much damage as possible when active. Burning as little as 20 grams of SCP-060 will cause SCP-060 Alpha to appear. Only one instance of SCP-060 Alpha will appear at any time. It is theorized that 060 Alpha is a unique entity. SCP-060 Alpha is extremely dangerous, having proven to be hostile and relatively intelligent. It appears to be a single recurring entity, showing a growing familiarity with Satellite Site 66-060's layout over the course of several manifestations. When given the opportunity, it will throw itself bodily at flammable materials in an effort to cause damage and assault personnel with a focus on grappling and strangulation. Additionally, It has proven capable of running at speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour, in short bursts, and leaping approximately 5 meters from a running start. Due to the extreme temperatures produced by 060 alpha during the initial stages of manifestation, along with its physical capabilities, it is capable of causing large, uncontrolled fires and widespread property damage if left unchecked. SCP-060 Alpha appears to intentionally avoid burning instances of SCP-060 when it becomes active. If SCP-060 Alpha is introduced to a high enough volume of water or other flame retardant material over a short amount of time, it will begin to weaken to the point that it will collapse into dust. Collapse will occur suddenly, with little warning. SCP-060 Alpha will continue to pose a threat up until its collapse. The volume of suppressive material required to subdue SCP-060 Alpha is markedly less than would be expected to quench a heat source of its intensity, with volumes of approximately 500 liters proving sufficient. Areas burned by SCP-060 Alpha will begin to yield sapling instances of SCP-060 over the following 4 to 6 weeks. Only one wave of sapling growth will follow any given containment breach. Said saplings are easily polled and should be composted and supplied to SCP-060's normal containment chambers. Additional information regarding 060. The property containing SCP-060 contained a burned-out, secluded house upon Foundation acquisition. According to civilian sources, the house's previous owner was a Jonathan Corhill, who is reported to have been a somewhat solitary eccentric, with a tendency towards bitterness and nihilism. Mr. Corhill was reported as a missing person in late 1996, several months after having suddenly cut off all ties to family members and friends. The last person to have had contact with Jonathan Corhill was his brother, Christopher, via a telephone call. According to his brother, Corhill had developed an interest in the study of Victorian-era occultism. Furthermore, he reported that Jonathan Corhill had seemed normal up until the phone call, at which point he told Christopher never to contact him again. Later in the year, a mail carrier visited the home to deliver a notice of foreclosure, finding it instead as a burned-out shell. Examination showed that the fire began in the living room, in the general vicinity of the fireplace. It is now assumed that SCP-060 Alpha manifested within the house while Corhill burned SCP-060 in the fireplace. Considering SCP-060 Alpha's nature, Why the house was not entirely destroyed during this alleged manifestation is as of yet unknown. No human remains were found within the structure. Jonathan Corhill's whereabouts and whether he is dead or alive are currently unknown.